Hey everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. We are on scenario B6, the final scenario of the basic level, with the character Damiel over at the Sky Pharaoh's throne, where at this location, the difficulty of your checks against Banes that have the mummy trait is increased by 4, and after you are dealt damage that is not reduced, bury one random card from your discard pile. Okay, a lot going on there. Let's go ahead and advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of Abdar. The first card we get, Exploring, is the Sand Creeper. Trigger Outsider Elemental Basic. Excuse me. When you examine this card, okay, we did not examine this card. The Sand Creeper is immune to the Piercing and Slashing traits. Before you act, recharge any cards that have the Electricity trait. Okay, looking at my hand, nothing has the Electricity trait. Let's see, what we're going to do is we have a weapon, we have that, we have the blowgun. We're going to go ahead and use our acid flask. The Sand Creeper is immune to piercing trait, so we can't use the blowgun. So acid flask is disable our range. Well, you do our range skill plus 2d6. So range skill 2d6. I think that's going to be enough because our range skill has a +2 modifier. So, rolling 3 dice, adding 2, let's see what we get. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, with room to spare, the Sand Creeper is defeated. Alright, going and resetting our hand. And what we're going to do is advance the Blessings deck. We will explore. Okay, we get Falling Rubble. So let's see, for Falling Rubble, what we have to do, it says here obstacle, task, trap, basic. So dexterity, acrobatics, perception, survival 6. So let's see. It says here, let's look at Damiel's powers here. It says you may recharge a card that has the alchemical trait. So that's just for combat checks. Okay, so none of his powers are necessarily going to help out. So what we have is a dexterity. So Damiel's dexterity is a straight up D10. So he's going to go ahead and roll D10, assembling my dice here, and we're going to go ahead and use a Blessing of the Elements. We don't really like, we have to discard that, we can't recharge it. So 2d10, need a 6 or higher. Alright, so we rolled a 15, so we did succeed in getting rid of that barrier. So pretty happy about that. Resetting our hand, advancing the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of Bastet. We are exploring. Okay, we get the Elemental Treaty. Display this card next to your location. So it's a check to acquire. Intelligence Arcane, Wisdom Divine 4. Let's see. This is a pretty cool card, but unfortunately Damiel doesn't have any spell slots for his card list, so he can't acquire spells, but he can still use them for this adventure. They're like scrolls, I guess. So straight up D10 check. It's a really interesting card. So we rolled a 3. Damiel's intelligence has a +1 buff, so he does acquire this card. So he is able to glean the information to get the Elemental Treaty, and we'll go ahead and cast it. So we can display that card on top of the location. Alright, so there's an Elemental Treaty going on. Let's see. Damiel likes his cards. They're doing pretty good. What I think I'm going to do is he has in his hand the Seer's Tea. So the Seer's Tea says banish this card to examine the top 3 cards of your location deck. You may succeed at a Wisdom or Divine 5 check to put them back in any order. So he gained that card last adventure. So let's go ahead and use it. We're going to examine the top 3 cards of our deck. So we get a Caravan Rider, we have a Whip, okay, and we get the Villain. So those are the 3 cards. It says here we can succeed at a Wisdom or Divine 5 check to put them back in any order. So we can really we can take our time and reset our hand until we get what we want. So we definitely want to make that Wisdom or Divine 5 check. Unfortunately, Damiel's Wisdom is just a D6, We are going to use a Blessing of the Ancients on this check, so we're going to roll 2d6, and we're going to hope to get a 5 or higher. So we rolled a 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can. So this card is banished, unfortunately, out of the campaign, but we can rearrange these cards. So we're going to go ahead. So this is interesting. So he's immune to mental and poison and electricity traits. And right now, Damiel just has a blowgun in his hand. So we're going to rearrange it so we'll have the whip on top, and then we'll meet the villain. All right, so pretty exciting there. And it has its dangers. So we are resetting our hand here. What we're going to do now is we will advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of a Jet. And we know what we have. We have the whip here. We would like this card. We did reset our hand. We did get some good options. So unfortunately, we want the whip, but the problem is that it's a strength 7. And Damiel just has a strength of D4. So, and he doesn't have any blessings. So unfortunately, there's no way he could acquire the whip. Would have been nice if he got it. But looking at Damiel's hand, it looks pretty good. So we will go ahead and advance the Blessings deck. And we will explore and meet the villain. Okay, so Tuktaman Haman. So he is immune to the electricity, mental, and poison traits. Before you act, succeed at a wisdom or perception 7 check, or you are dealt 1 electricity damage. So unfortunately for Damiel, that's an auto fail, but we do have the elemental treaty. So it says with the elemental treaty that we can reduce all electricity damage by 1. So that's sweet. So even though we fail that check, we don't take any damage. If the check to defeat has the fire trait, add 1d6. We don't have the fire trait, unfortunately. This is a mummy, and we are in the Sky Pharaoh's throne, which means that we have to add +4 to all of his checks to defeat. So 2 combat 14 checks. Alright, so a little dangerous here. So the first thing we're going to do is we have a Fire Lance. So for our first check, we're going to banish this card, but since it has the alchemical trait, and Damiel is an alchemist, he can discard it. So we're going to discard it, and we're going to roll 4d8. So 4d8 for our first check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Assembling our dice, finding some d8s here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4d8. So 48, I need a 14. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think we're going to be fine. So rolled a 7 and a 2, 7, 8, 9. And a 6 is 15, and an 8. So 23. So we made the first combat check. So now we have to do our second combat check. And unfortunately, like I stated earlier, he has the blowgun, but it has the poison trait. So fortunately, in our hand, we have the Druid of the Hive. We can discard this card to ignore a Bane's immunity to the acid and poison traits. So we're going to do that. So now we can use our blowgun. But the blowgun is just a simple dexterity or ranged D10. So let me go ahead and get the D10 and a D4. And the thing is that we can, with the blowgun, you may additionally recharge this card to add another 1d6. Okay, well we're definitely going to do that because we need to do that. So d6, and our range skill is +2. So we're adding 2 to this roll, and we need a total of 14. Is there anything else we can do? Okay, there is more we can do. This is awesome. So Damiel says, you may recharge a card that has the alchemical trait to add 1d4, and that will add the poison trait, since thanks to the Druid of the Hive, this mummy is no longer immune to poison. So we're going to add how much? Add 1d4. You may recharge a card that has the alchemical trait to add 1d4. Okay, so we're adding an additional d4 because we're going to recharge the Scarab Buckler. Alright, so that's a power. So that's not like a feat, or we're not using a card, we're using a power there. So we get to roll all these dice, adding 2 to the roll, and we need a 14. So I rolled a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So unfortunately, we failed by 2. Our last card is the Game of the Afterlife. When you would fail a check, bury this card to re-roll one die. Okay, so we only needed 2 more points, and I think if we re-roll this D10 with the 2, we'll be doing pretty good. Let me get a new D10, see if we can get some additional luck here. Alright, re-rolling. It's our final chance to defeat the undead mummy, and we rolled a 7. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 was our final roll, and we have succeeded in defeating that villain. Well, wow, we really needed like all of his, Damiel really pulled out all the stops for that. So I guess it's the sign of a well-built deck. So not only do we get the Elemental Treaty card, I just dropped the card on the floor. Elemental Treaty card is banished, unfortunately. Damiel does not get it. The villain is also banished, and the location is closed. So let's go ahead and do a deck check. But first, we're going to go ahead and do the reward for the scenario. The reward for the scenario was a power feat. So looking at Damiel's powers, let me go ahead and zoom in a little there for you. Got to work on that. Is it still a little slightly blurry there? I guess I'll zoom out a little more. Okay, so that should be good. Adjusted it that way and that way. Okay, nice. So Damiel's powers. What is going to be his first power feat? I'm kind of leaning towards the hand size. I think you need some more options. We can also use this one where we would banish a card that has the alchemical trait for its power. You may discard it instead, but then you may draw a card. So that might be interesting. That's kind of the same thing. We would really be able to do some hand manipulation with the first 2 cards. We can recharge or reveal a card to add 1d6 to your check that invokes the acid or poison trait. If your card has the alchemical trait, you may add another 1d6. So it says here, you may recharge or reveal a card to add 1d6 to your check that invokes the acid or poison trait, or to your check to defeat a barrier. So of course this second one will be really handy to defeat barriers. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to just go straight up for, I think we're going to, with Damiel, we're going to work on this hand manipulation. We're just going to go for the hand size. Straight up, make him kind of simple, give him the +6 for the hand size. So for that scenario, let's go ahead and now do a deck check. That was his power feat. That was his reward for defeating the undead dragon in the first level of the Sky Pharaoh's throne. So let's go ahead and look at what Damiel, who is right here, has for his cards. This is his deck check. I mean, he likes his weapons. He's got a lot of cool stuff here. So what's interesting is that he does have to build a legal deck. He had to banish the Seer's Tea. So as it is, he's going to be able to get basically another item, because he has to get another item to build a legal deck. So the question is does he want to go to a trader? So this is how it looks right here. He's got some cool options here. The blessings are fine, the allies. So he could go, I mean, his items, he likes the items, right? The items are doing good. I mean, just for fun, I guess we might as well just go to Falcine Deek. Let's go to Falcine Deek and just see what he's offering, because at the very least we can just get rid of some cards, and this is the last adventure of the first scenario, so Falcine Deek is only going to be taking items of level, the basic level or 1 for another 6 adventures or so. So let's see what Falcine Deek's offering. He's offering the Coal of Uncanny Discernment. Wow, 2 of them. So this is all he's offering this scenario, is this. Let's go ahead and look at this. Well, the benefit is that it has the alchemical trait. It says reveal this card to add 1d4 to your perception check. Discard this card to examine the top 2 cards of your location deck and put them back in any order. Well, I mean, honestly, I really like that card. So I like this card. So I think what we're going to do, and we can keep it, because what's cool is that Damiel has, where is his character slot? So he has a 6 item slot here marked off. So he only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll go ahead and take the coal of Uncanny Discernment because it's pretty awesome. For trade, we're just going to go ahead and give him 2 Blessings of the Elements. But then in order to build a legitimate deck, we're just going to go put them back into our deck like so. And I think that's going to be the state of Damiel's deck. That was a pretty successful first. The basic level of the campaign has been completed. Damiel definitely got a lot of cool items, a lot of good trades. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Druid of the Hive really helped out that final scenario. He's got some cool new cool of Uncanny Discernment stuff going on that's alchemical. So yeah, pretty happy with the campaign. Hopefully you're enjoying the campaign so far. And I will have the first scenario of level 1 up next time. Alright, thanks so much.